Welcome back to Bud and Mary's. I'm not sure where this video is going, but I got some cool, exciting news to share. You guys know what these are? These are Cubera snapper jaws, and these are from last year. A few that our friend Kelly did, and make a jaw mount there, and they turned out really cool. And we had a really tough time catching these Cuberas this year. We went 4 trips and finally caught one, which made that one episode out of. Then I went one more trip and beautiful weather, but never had a bite. Fished a close wreck. My buddy had caught a few that same night though at a different spot. I said, we got to give it one more run. We're gonna try it one more time. So we loaded up, we got some lobsters. We ran back up there. We didn't bring the camera though, and that might be why we had such an epic night. But we had the best night I've ever had Cubera snapper fishing. We caught 10 Cubera snapper. So 6 trips this year. The first 5 we had 1 fish. The last trip we had 10, and that is fishing. We didn't have the camera, unfortunately. We got a few phone clips, that I'll play while we're kind of talking about all this stuff now. But me, Vic, Little Cracker, which is the little dog that Vic has, because Vic's nickname is Cracker. Both Crackers, and Lainey was there, and Natalie. Everyone caught Cubera snapper. We let go the majority of them. We kept 1 small one under 30 inches to eat, and we kept 2 of the bigger ones over 30 inches to keep, which are allowed. He's in the Yeti right now, but it was an epic night. We used every lobster we had. We had 13 lobsters, caught a couple on dead ones, and they were biting. We didn't get them at the first spot either, so we ran to another spot, a little bumpy, a little rough. A flying fish hit the windshield on the boat, knocked up Vic's hat, so he was there. And then I said, Vic, you ain't got no hair on your head. And he wound up taking Lainey's hat, wearing that the rest of the night, but it was really fun. Let's get the Cubera out of here. We got some of the lobsters in here for bait that we were using. That's a pretty good sized one. But let's pull the biggest one out that we kept, and we'll go fillet them up here. We're gonna keep their heads. We'll probably do more jaw mounts there. And the guys here will eat all that throat meat as well, like Poncho loves it, and some of that cheek meat, but we want the jaws. So here we go. This is one of the nicer Cubera snappers from the other night. Probably around 25 pounds, I would guess. I gutted him, and he just leaked bloody juice all over my feet and my shorts. But it is time to go fillet him. Let's get busy. Here we go. I think it's around 25 pounds. We took the guts out because it was in the cooler for a day. We're gonna see now. So he's gutted, so he'd probably be about 2 pounds more if he had his guts. Let's see where he goes, hope he doesn't fall. Oh, not a bad guess, 25.8, so probably like a 27, 28 pounder. At least you got it on video, me saying 25. So 25.8 minus the guts, so probably 27, 28 pounder in there, but let's get filleting. Whoops. We are going to do the smaller Cubera we got. I already gutted him too, I didn't scale him. But I think we're gonna take him to Papa Joe's. They're gonna do a nice gourmet dinner for us, it sounds like. And Cuberas, they're awesome fish. You saw the jaws on them there. They're hard to fillet. They got giant scales on them. But I got a serrated knife here from Mustad we'll use to fillet them, and then a regular skinning knife to cut the skin off. And the good news is, if you don't use all the bait, the lobsters are good eating too. And I was gonna go back last night to try to run it back one more time, but it didn't work out. The plan fell apart. But I did go out there with Sarah, and she volunteered to catch bait. And we caught our limit of a dozen lobsters in like 30 minutes. That was really good. She dove in and out multiple times, and she was on them. I brought my mask, but she said, I don't need you to get in, so she did the dirty work. I drove the boat. And we're actually got our 28-foot Freeman listed for sale. It's almost a year old, so we'll get that up there, and hopefully it sells soon. But if not, if anybody's looking for a 28-foot Freeman, wants that hybrid that can do a little bit of everything offshore or in the backcountry, keep it in mind. But let's get filleting him. We're gonna knock his fillets off, then we'll save his head here, try to get his jaws out, and we'll the throat meat here, the wings they call it. Those guys here will love them too, and we're gonna give him some of the fillets too. So I know Vic needs some to eat. So just like everything, right behind his head here. And Cuberas have massive scales. Like you can see these scales coming up there. Look how big those are. So they got some armor on them. The serrated knife makes that much easier. It is kind of crazy how scaly they are. Trying not to get too dirty. But just like everything, make the outline first. And I do not use the serrated knife very often, but for super scaly fish like this, ooh, that bird's fired up. Pistol Pete over here, that little bird, piece of fish. He's making noise, I think he's hungry. When we talk about how expensive these fish are to target, using a live lobster for bait, dropping down, $10 bills on average, maybe 20 bucks. And if you catch the lobsters yourself and factor in the cost of owning a boat, all your dive gear, the gas to get the lobsters, they're pretty expensive that way too. So buying them actually is usually cheaper. And the price on lobsters earlier this season was really reasonable, less than 10 bucks a pound, like 8 bucks a pound. So definitely was cheaper at one point just to buy them than go catch them. But we did both. We bought some for bait, and then we caught some, just trying to work that knife over the spine here. Now we're just gonna try to go over these rib cages, or the rib cage. You can hear that knife sawing through the bones there. We're just trying to stay right along those bones. Now comes the fun part, skinning them, which is definitely easier than sawing through the scales and all that stuff. And you could use that knife if you wanted to, but I like a non-serrated knife to skin them. And Cuberas have a pretty thick bloodline, so if you can leave a tad of like meat or so on the skin, it's not bad at all, because it'll be less bloodline you got to cut out. And the meat is like, they're very fatty, so it feels like really oily. So we caught these not last night, the night before, and then we gutted them. They sat in the cooler, but you can definitely feel the meat feels definitely different than yellowtail snapper and mangrove snapper. You can see that thick bloodline there, the red. So leaving a little bit on there is not bad. We'll trim this up even more. Get rid of that there, which is a little bit of rib cage that remained on the fillet. Captain Joey's coming on the Fearless now. He caught a bunch of tuna this morning, it sounded like, on a half day. There's 27-foot conch there. And I don't offer charters for Cubera snappers just because they're so inconsistent, you know, to go. We went 6 times and only caught them on 2 of the trips, so too inconsistent to do that, and we only get a few days a year to do it, and trying to perfect it and get better at it ourselves. Now we'll just kind of trim a little more of this bloodline up that stayed on the fillet there. Just that's kind of what gives fish like a little fishier taste and all that. Not always super bad fish, a little bit, but we'll try to get the majority of it up there if we can. Looking pretty good. Now all I gotta do is this other side over here. This is what we call the wings here, which would be into the throat here, up in the head there around that. And I do want to save the jaws. And there's a little cheek meat in these big snappers too. But let's do this other side next. We're gonna take that smaller one, which was under 30 inches. So you can keep, you know, 2 over 30 inches and you keep some under 30 inches. And I think for dinner, me, Sarah, and Sadie are gonna take the other Cubera to Papa Joe's and hopefully have them cook it up for us all gourmet style. And maybe mix in some lobsters with it too, because we got some extra lobsters left over. So this is the head. Just kind of cut out the rest of the guts there. All the meat right there. There's some head meat in here. The cheek meat. And these throats are good here. There's a lot of meat in there. You know, just, we didn't grow up eating them, just kind of the culture here. And a lot of other places they do though. And they'll split that and have themselves a good old meal. And we're gonna bag up some of this fish here and give it away. Get a bag to Vic, bag to Laney. We gave some to Natalie already. We'll get this bagged up, and then this video's gonna be all over the place, I know that. Bring you along to the next stop soon. Vic, did we catch Cubera snappers?
Greased them.
How many?
And released them. 10 of them.
10?
Out of 13 bugs.
Yep. Now did the dog, Little Cracker, have anything to do with it? Was he good
Lucky
luck?
Charms.
The Lucky Charm. We
Lucky
even
Charm
got a
Cracker
picture
dog.
with him. He was in a couple pictures,
Oh, yeah.
so.
Yeah. But she can't mess with them big old teeth.
Now they might eat her. All right, Vic's taking this. He's gonna divvy it up.
All right. Thank you very much, Nick.
You give it to whoever you want, Vic.
Don't worry, I got you.
Vic made sure to tell Jackson that's what they look like, because Jackson
That's
was on
what
the
they look like.
trip
Look,
before, the night
this is
before.
targeted
We never had a
species.
bite, right?
When we go on this boat, targeted species.
But I took Vic to the good spot, Jackson said, which was true. Cause
You took the good person to go with.
Well, I hadn't been to Sunday school yet, man.
Yeah, Vic said he's going to learn you now.
Don't worry, taught.
All right, so we're getting the wings off here and that big chunk of meat there. And I don't want to sacrifice the jaws here, and I'm afraid if I give the guys this forward piece of it, I may not get them back. So we're close to getting this off here now. And once we get this off, we will have the jaws out. Go put this head in the freezer. Hopefully I don't cut my hand off here real quick. Comes off like that. Then we gotta just trim it up just a little bit. This is actually the fish's heart. But fish eat their own babies, so don't worry about it. It ain't that big of a heart. Survival of the fittest, I think. There you go. We got both of those. We'll wash them off with the hose. I'm gonna save this to get the jaws out of there. And there's a little cheek meat in there I can get out too. Let me see if I can just do that real quick while we're here. It'll be like a little nugget, you know, like a little scallop of sorts. There's the cheek meat, little nugget there. I'm not the best at cutting these out, but that right there will still be a very good little appetizer. We got one on the other side. We'll see you guys later.
No,
Mike, you take a bag,
Cubera,
Pancho.
Cubera snapper, you know?
One for you, one for him, all right?
Yeah, man. Pancho, you want one?
Pancho, you take one too.
Yeah, take
the
one,
wings.
Pancho. One for you.
Thank you.
Respect. Yeah,
There you
man.
go, perfect.
Thank you, Nick.
No problem.
Yeah. I'm gonna fry mine up. I'm gonna fry it
I don't have
up.
a lunch for today, but right now, thank you, Nick.
You're
Where you
welcome.
gonna make?
Thank
Where you
you.
gonna make Pancho soup?
Huh?
Soup?
Yeah.
We're here in Papa
So-
Joe's with Chef Michael. Just kidding. Tell him what your real name is.
Good one, Alan.
He put on the wrong shirt. But the good thing is they're the same size. Like me and Landon, we're both small, so. Boy, this is a test to see how the audio does for that
This guy's name is Michael.
that noisy machine over there. We're here at Papa Joe's with Chef Allen. I know the shirt says Michael, but that's not correct. Charles gonna put it on. Anyhow, we got the Cubera snapper, well, one of them. We cleaned the other ones. In the bucket here, we got half a dozen lobsters. He's gonna take us through a gourmet experience here. Papa Joe's is reopened right across the street from Bud and Mary's. And I know it's not the microphone's echoing. That machine is making some noise over there. What is it, Charles?
That's the beer pump system for the coldest beer in the Keys.
We got to keep it going there. Got to keep the Los Cayos cold for Franker. Anyhow, give us
That's
a
our
rundown.
jukebox in the prep kitchen.
Yeah.
So
Give us a
anyways,
rundown.
so here at Papa Joe's, you know, we like the whole, thought of sustainability and utilizing the whole lobster. So we get whole lobsters in only, not just the tail, and we use the whole lobster. So what we do first of all is, we cut off its little leggies here. And all of its little legs we make for our lobster bisque. Right? All the legs, all the antennas, all the shells and the carcass we use for lobster bisque. And we don't use lobsters outside of lobster season. Imagine that, right? 9 out of 10 times, 9 out of 10 restaurants, they'll take that and throw it in the trash or throw it back in the water for their crabs to eat, who knows. But not here, not at Papa Joe's. We use the whole lobster. So like I said, all this is gonna go into our lobster stock that we turn into lobster bisque. Then we take out the gills of the lobster. Right there also goes into lobster bisque. We continue taking out the whole body meat from the lobster, so that way there's only the carcass left. My favorite part,
Was he malting?
it was a little soft.
Is that why this is still on there?
Yeah.
So he was
He's
malting.
about to grow another.
That's the exoskeleton
He's about to
there.
grow another shell.
Nice.
Something like a soft shell lobster. Mostly you hear a soft shell crab. But. So that's his little second skeleton. And all this right here is all lobster meat. It's all head and body meat from the lobster. That 9 out of 10 times it just gets thrown away. So we trim off all of that. My favorite part are the antennas. Because a lot of people don't know, there's a lot of meat in the antennas. So what we do here, we take off our antennas just like that. But no, we're not gonna throw them away. Everybody just throws those antennas away, and that's the best part. So now, just imagine a king crab, a snow crab, or This meat is very similar to the texture of crab. It's also slightly sweeter. The spiny tail lobster, a lot of people think the meat's not very sweet compared to the northern lobster, which the tail meat, it's really not. All this meat right in here.
You learned something, Nick?
Yeah, I've never
What-
cleaned a
what is-
lobster that good
what-
before.
Isn't that crazy?
What does that
Yes.
remind you of? What does it look like?
Looks like a crab leg.
Right?
We were just in the Bahamas. We got some really big lobsters, and we did eat some of the legs and boiled and some of that. But I have never dissected a lobster like this much. So
Dude,
you've
you-
got more meat off this than I
You
would've
get a
even
good
realized.
2 or 3 pound lobster,
Yeah.
and that sucker right there is gonna be like 2 ounces of meat. Just by
Think about every head you've thrown out.
Oh yeah.
And he's using every bit of that.
I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch this so I remember how to clean the lobster. There is one big one in here.
we can do that one too.
Not the Bahamas.
No, but this one here, I mean, that's a close to 2 pounder there.
That's a nice one.
They'll have some antenna meat.
Oh yeah. For sure.
This ain't bad for your first day on the job.
Done this once or twice.
I could see.
Should I put this one in our pile? Thinking about it.
Hey, bring that one back here, Charles.
So what was that? 60 seconds or so? And then you can get a whole nother dish out of this. A lot of times you can poach them in the shell and then clean it just like crab and put it on top of a fish or a steak, just like a crab Oscar, but we call it lobster Oscar.
Oscar, I like it.
Florida Keys style, all right? All this is still gonna go into our lobster bisque. How do you say it, Charles? Adula oblongata?
Yeah.
Brain meat. Look at that right there. All lobster meat, which most restaurants throw in the trash or throw it back in the ocean.
Look at that.
So we're gonna get one dish from the lobster head meat. We're gonna get another dish from our lobster tentacles, and then we can get. God only knows what you can do with the lobster tail, all right?
This is looking good. It can be a feast. I am shocked with the head meat how it pulled out of
It
there
is
like that.
good, dude. It's good.
And I imagine them being iced down in the cooler made that a little bit easier for that meat to separate, right?
Yeah.
If it was like a fresh live one,
Yeah,
just
if it was
feel
like
it's
really
tough, right?
iced down, yeah.
Yeah.
So how I like to remove the skin is a classic Japanese technique with the knife.
I don't know that technique. You're gonna have to teach us.
Yeah, and here in America we just use an electric scale peeler and just
Yeah.
peel them off. But what that does is it leaves the tissue still on the meat, on the skin.
Yeah.
So you'll see a little bit of the brown and orange color of
Sure.
the tissue still attached to the skin. But if you take off the scales with a knife and you do it at the right angle, then what happens is you take off all that tissue with the scales, and then you can get a nice crispy skin on your fish.
This is looking better by the minute.
So right now we got the knife slightly angled up, not down, because if we angled it down, we'd be going into the flesh of the meat of the fish, which we of course don't want to do that. So we get right there to the collarbone.
Huh.
And then all right there is the actual, this is the real skin of the fish. When you take off the scales with a whatever, a little,
scaling tool or whatever like that,
fish-shaped,
yeah.
scaler, you get all the colored tissue that's still attached
Well, I used
there.
a knife last time, but it looked like I hacked it on up. I don't think I've ever watched anyone do this before.
Yeah, it's a little bit more work, but it's
Yeah, but I feel like you cut that off faster than I could skin it with a knife. I was sitting there, scales wherever were flying. I'm sitting there like this. My arm was tired after about 5 minutes.
I'm not gonna lie, it's a brand new knife.
Okay, good.
But yeah, then you get a nice crispy skin. I mean, you can even dry that out in the cooler. Nowadays, people are all about dry aging
aging?
fish.
Yeah, I've been hearing about it.
So like, if you ever dry age fish, you have to do it like this.
How long would you dry age this fish for, do you think?
Well, what, you caught it yesterday?
The day before, the night before.
So, I mean, you could go easily 7 days at least.
That'd be a
You
long
know?
time for him to film.
I like it.
It really depends on like the freshness, you know.
Yeah.
Like a fish is fresh. Like most of the time, it sits in ice on a boat for 7 days anyways before it gets to the market.
Yeah.
You know.
True.
So it's better to be in a dry environment because mold and it grows with moisture.
Sure.
So if you remove moisture from the fish, then it's going to last longer. It's not going to stink. Stinky fish comes from fillets being pressed against each other, you know, or fish sitting next to each other.
Yeah.
You know, fish don't live like that. They swim. They're never touching each other.
Noted.
So why put them like that, you know?
I'm excited to try this. I'm going to give him some space in here so I don't get in his way with a knife. Landon's going to stay here and film some. I'll be back soon. I can't wait to try it. We'll see you in an hour for dinner.
In an hour. So all fish got cheeks. Some are bigger, some are smaller. There's definitely lots of meat in there that we don't want to go to waste. So a lot of times we start kind of right behind the eyelid. And just let your knife follow the muscle around. It's a beautiful snapper cheek right there. Probably another 2 ounces of meat. Cubera snapper collar. Super delicious. Like cooked like low and slow. It's definitely a little fattier. We got all the scales off of this bad boy. I'm gonna just fillet this puppy up. Get it ready for dinner time. Look at that, beautiful bloodline, nice red bloodline, nice firm meat. So now we're gonna go back. We got our Cubera snapper all cleaned up here. We're gonna be going back and just with our handy dandy spoon, scraping off any extra meat that may be left on the carcass, you know. We'll be able to use that for a ceviche dish upstairs in the kitchen. So we'll just go in between each little vertebrae and scrape off all of our excess meat. And it doesn't look like much, but when you're all done, we can get a nice bit of ceviche out of this right there. So this is it. We got our 2 fillets from the Cubera snapper, our 2 collars not going to waste, our 2 grouper cheeks, of course, not going to waste, and about 6-7 ounces of ceviche meat right there. So we're gonna take this upstairs, get it all cooked up, and we're good to go. All right, so we got all of our lobster tails all cleaned up here, ready to go. How we like to do them at Papa Joe's is we poach them off in the steamer, and what we do is we'll put little skewers right underneath the belly here. You can see them go right through. right out the other side. So that way when we poach off these lobster tails, that lobster tail is going to stay nice and flat, and it's going to be a nice flat surface to finish the cooking process. So after we get them blanched off with the skewers, we'll get them split in half and finish the lobster preparations from that point. So we're just going to get the rest of our pin bones out here, out of this Cubera snapper. We'll get these all portioned up for dinner time. We got our beautiful fresh spiny tail lobsters here from Nick. First, what we're gonna do is we're gonna give them a quick blanch in our beautiful steamer, just for about 3 minutes to let the meat set and firm up so we can take them out of the shell so it's easier to cut and eat. So we're gonna throw them right in here for just about 3 minutes, not to cook them all the way, just a little bit to set the meat. So what we got going on here, we got our Cubera snapper cheeks here. We're gonna poach them off in a lemon beurre blanc. We go low and slow, not too high a temperature. So they're gonna be nice and tender, super delicious. All right guys, our lobsters are ready to go. We're gonna pull them out of the steamer here. We go right into our ice bath. So we got our beautiful lobster tails that we just cooked off. We're gonna start by splitting them right down the middle, but we're not gonna cut all the way through the lobster. So as you can tell, our lobsters are still a little bit raw in the middle, right? We don't want them to be overcooked, just the meat set on the outside. So now we're gonna be able to start taking off the shell, and we're gonna finish the cooking process for the guests. Removing the lobster from the shell just makes it really a lot easier for the guests to eat. You know, here at Papa Joe's, we're always thinking about, you know, how the guests eat their meal, how they look at it, how they see it. You know, we don't want them struggling with a whole bunch of unnecessary lobster shell. So that's our lobster tail, ready to be finished cooked. This lobster tail, we're gonna do it with our wonton crust. We're gonna hit it with our cornstarch slurry. First, we're gonna season our lobster right up. This mixture here is egg whites and cornstarch. So make sure we use just to adhere our breading. We use egg whites and cornstarch because we wanna try to keep things as gluten-free as possible nowadays. So that's our wonton crust onto the lobster tail, onto the flat top. We'll get it nice and crispy. All right guys, we got our Cubera snapper here with our skin still on it. All the scales and tissues are removed. We're not gonna season the skin side of the fish. We're just gonna keep it nice and plain. Only the meat side is seasoned right now. So these are definitely gonna take a minute to get nice and crispy, stay nice and flat. We're gonna let it cook about 75% of the way on the skin side so it gets nice and crispy. We cleaned out all the head meat from the lobster earlier. Now we got our homemade lobster raviolis here. We're gonna cook them off in the water just for a minute and finish these bad boys off in our homemade lobster bisque. We saute with some vegetables. We got some corn, some leeks, some grape tomatoes, and cremini mushrooms. Those are all gonna get sauteed. We got our beautiful homemade lobster raviolis right in with our vegetables. And we're gonna hit it with our beautiful homemade lobster bisque that we use from cleaning all that head meat out earlier. So we're gonna finish our lobster ravioli here and our lobster bisque. And we'll be good to go. All right guys, our lobster raviolis are looking nice and coated with the lobster bisque. We're gonna hit it with some fresh chives and we'll be good to go. We got 8 orders of ravioli here, 8 pieces. You know, we don't skimp here at Papa Joe's. All about value. Homemade lobster ravioli. None of that frozen bullcrap. We're gonna just take all of our leftover vegetables and sauce. It's gonna go right over that ravioli. We're gonna finish this off with some truffle breadcrumbs. This is our plantain crusted lobster tail from earlier. We pair our plantain crust with a pica peppa beurre blanc. Pica peppa sauce is a classic Jamaican condiment that was heavily utilized in the old Papa Joe's. So when we reopened the new Papa Joes, we definitely wanted to use some of those ingredients. So this is our plantain crusted lobster tail with pica peppa beurre blanc and tropical fruit salsa. All right, guys, we got our beautiful Cubera snapper with the crispy skin here. Just seasoned it very lightly, cooked it on the plancha. We're gonna throw it right over our banana leaf. And so we just finished our crispy skin snapper off here. A little bit of salt. We didn't season that top side before. And then we serve all of our grilled, blackened, and fried fish with our little house-made remoulade, nice orchid, and a little lemon.
What is this?
That's gonna be a little bit spicy. You don't want that.
It is?
Only the sauce on the outside.
Is it Cubera snapper?
So that's the Cubera snapper. We
Ceviche.
scraped off the meat from the bones after we filleted it, and then used all that leftover meat for the ceviche.
And we got the wings.
So over here we got the cheeks.
The cheeks,
The cheeks,
perfect.
we just poached them in like a lemon beurre blanc, super like low and slow, and put some shaved Parmesan cheese over them and some lemon juice. There you
Hey,
go.
it's Sadie's.
Then we got the skin on Cubera snapper here, some more grilled Cubera snapper there, also with the collars. And then over there and closer to Nate is a coconut almond lobster. The wonton crusted lobster is over there also. This one here is the plantain crusted lobster.
It looks like you knocked out of the park. Good job. Now the true test.
The true test, yeah.
The cheek, super buttery, super good. Very soft. Sadie, you want lobster mac and cheese? You got the flour? Oh, it's so pretty.
I got some.
So pretty. Look at the blue flower there in the purple one. So pretty, sweetie. The flower girl. So soupy. It's an absolute feast here with that Cubera snapper and those lobsters, and that fish was, I think it was 14 pounds or so. It will feed at least 14 people. I mean, there's so much food there. We only got 7 adults and 1 kid. We're not even gonna eat half of that. We got the lobsters to go with it. Next time you come down to Alamrada, check out Papa Joe's Waterfront here. You guys won't be disappointed. And they're gonna start offering Cook Your Catch very soon. Maybe by the time this video comes out, but they got a bunch of other food here to eat. And gorgeous sunset, the sun's going down. I'm gonna get back in there. Everyone's enjoying the food, and we're gonna go home a little bit happier tonight. You think they can hear me or no? Huh? It's windier now than it was 3 hours ago when I came here. Oh yeah. Well, we put the word out there that the 28 Freeman was for sale, and we got an interested buyer. Bill Potter is here, and he's a marine surveyor. He's probably one of the best ones out there, and he has his assistant too. And they've been here the last 45 minutes or so, going through the boat. We're gonna do a sea trial, and as you can tell, it's really windy. Hurricane Helena is that way a few hundred miles. We're just getting the far outside bands of it. I hope everyone stays safe in its path, and I hope it weakens before it makes landfall up there, the Tallahassee area, or wherever it's gonna land there. So fingers crossed for y'all. Probably blowing 30 to 40 here. We had some rain earlier, but we're gonna show you a little bit of this survey here. If you guys ever buy a boat and make that investment, definitely a good idea to get one, you know, to protect yourself, you know, in case there's any issues with the boat. I think we should be pretty good on here. The boat's only a year old in a couple days, so it's in good shape. It's been running great. And hey, the last trip on it with all this Cubera snapper, what a way to end that, you know, owning this boat. So assuming the sale goes through. So next we're gonna run the boat around. We're gonna haul it out on the trailer. He's gonna do all the outer water stuff here for the survey, you know, check the hull and all the through hull fittings and all that stuff. We'll kind of update you along the way. Might show you a little bit on the GoPro riding through this rough weather. I know this video a little bit all over the place. We got a little bit of Cubera snapper fishing, an epic meal at Papa Joe's, plus the survey on the 28 Freeman. If it goes through, we'll update at the end of the video. And I hope the new people that are getting it love this boat as much as we did. The boat is not sold yet, but it's close. They did the survey the other day. Most stuff checked out good. Of course, there's only a couple little things here and there, but they want to inspect the hull and they need to see behind the wrap. But the good thing about wrapping the boat is when you pull it off, usually it looks brand new. And you can see it's not all scratched up. If, you know, we swordfished a bunch with it, there may be some scratch marks in it, or if it like rubbed on the dock, we didn't want to, but you can see it looks pretty much brand new. StanzFam did a great job on this. So I'm gonna work on removing it, and then we'll have to get a little adhesive remover or some mineral spirits and get like the edge sealer off, because right around the edges is kind of where they seal it usually. I just got the registration sticker off just in case it doesn't sell, and it's a little risky pulling this wrap off. That wrap's worth like close to 4,000 bucks. So if they don't buy it, I'm gonna feel kind of foolish, but if they do buy it, I'll be happy they bought it and be glad it's off there. So let's put this down and let's try to get this wrap off in one piece. Are you helping me? Yeah, that's good done, sucker. Everybody asks how hard it is to remove a wrap. Here we go. This ain't gonna be like the other ones, I know that. Those other ones were tough. Ta-da! Like 3 minutes, right?
2.5.
2 or 3 minutes, you guys, and the wrap's off just like that. And if it was cut up and scratched off, it would have taken longer, but that's how it comes off there. Should be good. The second side is off. Another literally 2 minutes, maybe 3 at most, to pull this side off, and 2 or 3 minutes on that side. So like 5 or 6 minutes, and the boat looks like new underneath there. So if you're ever thinking about getting a wrap, it is great. You don't have to wax the boat. It protects the gel coat, you know, or if it was paint to protect that. And bottom paint still looks good. Just gotta get a little bit of adhesive remover and get rid of some of this edge sealer that I put around, like, you know, all the through holes here and the gas vent and other edges of the wrap there. So we'll do that, if not today, the next couple of days, and hopefully the sale goes through and the people are happy with the boat, and maybe we'll get another one. You never know.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Hey! Oh, found Jeffrey. Man, I trained that thing to be a hunting dog.
A hunting dog?
Oh yeah, so I got 2 chickens.
Was he hunt free fish?
No, she'll do that too. She ain't shy about something to grease, it's all good.
Cracker the dog here, little Cracker. That's big Cracker, little Cracker. Apparently he ate one of Lazy Day's chickens from next door. Whoops. That's gonna wrap this video up. Everybody that was affected by Hurricane Helene, hope you guys get rebuilt there. I know the West Coast took it pretty bad, and we got lucky here. A few broken water lines, but all in all, maybe 45, 50 mile an hour winds at most that we saw for a few minutes. We've been through some bad ones here, so everybody that got hit with the other one, I hope you guys get cleaned up there and get things back on track there. I know it just takes time, but we're gonna finish this boat here. We're gonna get the rest of the stickers off here, get it cleaned up, and then hopefully it goes to the new home. So I know the Cubera fishing was a little bit all over the place, just a little bit of phone video, but the meal at Papa Joe's was epic, and getting this boat hauled out for the sea trial when we had tropical storm conditions that was another feat in itself. The 28 Freeman sold. It's going to a new home. We're going to deliver it up to SD Marine there by Snake Creek Farm. And we had a lot of fun with this boat. Not sure what's coming next, but we're excited. So it's gone. Hope you all enjoyed the videos on it so far up to this point on the YouTube channel. But that's going to wrap this video up. We're going to pull it out of here in a minute. And thank you guys for watching. Hit the subscribe button. Thanks for being a part of our lives. If you guys want any gear, head to StanzFishing.com. Go get you some shirts, hats, fishing rods, whatever you guys want. Nick sticks are ordered. They're coming here hopefully after Thanksgiving, maybe early December. On the road it goes.
If anyone buys a boat from us in the future, you have to pay a lot of extra money for all the GPS waypoints. But I just wiped off the GPS and reset the factory settings, but here it is. Make us an offer.